Yo guys, what's going on? It's Max, and in today's video, developer update for March 2023 came out literally an hour ago as the time of recording this. I was gonna make a video on Otsdarva's tunneling video, like that's literally in YouTube on standby. I figured this would be a more timely video to just kind of talk about early, but if you guys are interested getting my 2 cents on the whole Otsdarva tunneling thing, that upload's gonna be happening Monday at 3 o'clock, so feel free to swing on by, see what's going on. Developer update though, kind of big changes in my opinion, and I'm actually really excited that the perk choice that they are choosing to tackle is relevant. Now granted, there's a lot of changes in here. I'm gonna skim through them really quick. Most of this discussion is going to be oriented towards the perk changes. Just because I admittedly haven't played all the other killers enough to know the add-on changes too much, except for one, which I'll point out because I'm actually kind of happy with it, because that's the one that I know about. Otherwise, let's just get into it. So, blood web improvements, a lot of good stuff. So here, the blood web chain basically just says if you want to pick a particular node, you can tap that node and it will auto buy all the way towards that node. So I don't have to go like bing, bing, now I got my perk. I can just select the perk and it auto buys all the way out there. Awesome. Automatic purchase in the center, literally just press it, and now if you don't care what you're getting and you just want to level your stuff up, spend your blood points, auto purchase, just let it run, you got it. I think that's amazing. Press to buy, so now you don't need to hold down the button to secure the little like bing, and then you get it, and now you just bam, 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 you just keep going. So blood points gonna be spent a lot faster. I think a lot of people in the community really wanted this, and I'm super happy to see that that's being changed. Visual terror radius. I've seen this happening quite a bit on DVD mobile, and I think that this is actually a really good accessibility change. Of course, I don't want to be the person that's super picky and is like, oh, well, now, the terror radius doesn't mean anything because now people just get an easy way to see if you're right by them or not. I don't know. Accessibility change. The more accessible the game is, I think much better. I'm sure people might actually just straight up turn this on so they can see, their terror radius a lot better. Granted, I don't know if I'd ever turn it on or off, but regardless, I think this is an amazing change. They added it for colorblind options as well, which is amazing. I think this is a phenomenal change that makes the game better, just for those who are hard of hearing, and this is a great approach to it, plain and simple. Now, Autohaven Wreckers is getting an update. Blood Lodge is possibly getting some changes, so layout changes are going to be a little bit better. Gas Heaven's car wall is going to have some holes in the walls from what I've heard. So it's good. I don't really have a whole lot of details of it besides the tiles can kind of make the map a little bit difficult to navigate. So we'll see how it looks once PTB goes live, which should be sometime next week from this upload. Medkits. Now this is something I haven't looked at as much, but they're basically saying that medkits are pretty good, just outright. I think we can all agree with that. And that means that keeping survivors injured and switching targets is not really advantageous when people bring medkits. So to see, healing now takes 24 seconds by default, which means that hits are now impactful. Healing is more difficult to do. Resetting is important, but when you're cranking out stuff like that with a medkit, it really makes it feel difficult to drop chases with people that you've already hit because it feels like all that pressure amounted to nothing. You could see the medkits are getting rebalanced across the board, so they all get 24 charges by default. And now the rarities are increased altruistic healing speed by certain percent, and you can see these are down from the previous ones, which is awesome. Emergency medkit, the green one, 30%, and no longer increases the speed that you heal yourself, which I think this is probably the biggest change that impacts like why medkits were so oppressive. All medkits in general, you have the opportunity to heal yourself, which is tough, but the fact that they're keeping that and the strength of the medkit, but this green one right here, now you can't self heal really quickly, is really nice. And then the purple medkit actually I think now is better than the green one, where healing speed goes up more, better skill check zones, and great skill check, like not only zones, but the amount of progress, I assume. So this right here should really help a lot, in addition to saying they're working on the add-ons. But this is probably the biggest thing right here. it is now impossible for a medkit to fully heal a survivor more than twice in a match. So bringing in a medkit is your one saving grace. You can reset on your own, and I think that brings them a lot more in line to other items you can bring into the game. The fact that one medkit being brought in, especially like OG Ranger medkit, you get a couple charges, like add-ons on that thing. It's a single medkit that lets you heal yourself 3 separate times at a reasonable speed. Emergency medkit, I'm pretty sure you could get this thing up to 2 heals and you heal yourself way faster. Here's the thing, I don't bring items into my games, so I already have an initial bias in saying that this doesn't bother me in the slightest. As someone who plays killer, I think this is a good change. The game, I think, at the higher levels of play is already survivor-sided, and this is probably one of the biggest changes they can make to address medkits being, in my opinion, the strongest item in the game. And I know we recently talked about it. I think I'm pretty firm on the stance that medkits are the strongest. So let me know what you guys think really quick in the comments about medkits. I think this is an awesome change. I could be very wrong, and you know, I just think this is awesome. The fact that they recognize medkits are causing frustrations, they kind of not break the balance, but they really do make chases feel less worthwhile. The only thing would be the default healing now taking 24 seconds. It makes me wonder if this is kind of like, you know, for example, against a Legion player, like maybe now you just don't heal against Legion anymore. I tend to heal against him, and I realize it's kind of a mistake because he just runs in, goes whoosh, and then walks away, and now you're spending 8 years trying to heal. But I think this is all a pretty big section that I don't want to undermine with perks. But let's go to the perks, because that's important. So Gearhead is a perk I don't see very often enough, but now it's gotten a rework. So when a survivor loses a health state, Gearhead activates for 30 seconds, and while active, any survivor who hits a good skill check has their aura revealed for, I'm just going to go with 8 seconds. I'm going to use the top level. We're all going to get there. So I don't recall what this perk did before, admittedly, just straight up, I don't use it. So now if I look at it at this new state, I think this is actually kind of nice. I mean, I think it's an alternative option for high mobility killers, because if you're in chase with someone, you give them a quick smack. Not only with the new updates is it going to be harder for them to heal and reset that pressure, but now for people who are actively on generators, you are getting a value out of a perk to go and find somebody else. Granted, it's probably better for you to amount the pressure and maintain it down. So the 30-second window probably applies from when you actually get the M1 that downs a player. You probably spend 10 to 15 seconds to pick them up and put them on a hook, depending how close or far they are or who you're playing. So you really have about 15 seconds of information that you're able to capitalize on, assuming you're not slugging. And I think that's a decent change. I don't know if this is going to be groundbreaking, but I'm happy to see that this perk now feels like it has more value. Overzealous, shout out, I believe this was a Howdy perk, so shout out to all the Howdy players out there. That it kind of made a battle between booning and cleansing, which I agree. So this one right here, Overzealous, now activates when blessing a totem in addition to cleansing, and they've increased the bonus speed to 10%. That's awesome. People weren't really running this perk. I think that with the introduction of boons, it kind of made this perk feel irrelevant. So the fact that you can now run Overzealous in combination with your boon perks, if you really want to do like a boon setup thing, you know, which we'll get to in a second, but I think this is an awesome change, and it just helps the perk a little bit more. Pain Res, historically strong perk, and even they say that. So here, the perk starts with 4 tokens, and the first time each survivor is hooked on a Scourge hook, the generator with the most progress explodes. So basically, not only are they tuning down the numbers between tiers, so it's still 15%, but it can only happen 4 times a trial. And it's on a Scourge hook. So I've had Pain Res happen more than 4 times in a game, especially when people want to run something like Agitation, and, you know, make sure that they get to the Scourge hook in time. This is a great change, in my opinion. I think Pain Res is... I mean, I don't know, actually. I think the perk is meta, so it deserves to be nerfed. But at the same time, regardless, it regresses the gen, so I guess it is. Because I still do the whole thing of, you know, I get off the gen right before it pops up, and then I go back on it. Even though I think that just stops a scream, which doesn't really make a big difference. But regardless, I think it's good that they've kind of maxed out the amount that it does. Likewise, and interestingly enough, Dead Hard is now a one-time use that triggers in the same way Deliverance activates. So Dead Hard will activate after safely unhooking a survivor, and you get the same 0.5-second window to try and bust through. And Dead Hard will deactivate once it successfully protects the user from damage. So basically, you get multiple, I would assume this implies you get multiple attempts to use your Dead Hard, but once you get your one Dead Hard hit and your distance from it, you're done. That's pretty big. I don't know about you guys. I love using Dead Hard because I think it's a pretty fun perk, trying to, you know, parry the killer back and forth against killers that I like playing, like Huntress, Demogorgon, anyone that has a telegraphed long range attack. Dead Hard feels oppressive. I think Dead Hard is a very strong perk against killers that have telegraphed or ranged attacks. It makes it really easy to time your hit to stop them from going. So I'm really happy to see that Dead Hard is being addressed to a one-time use. In reality, I honestly feel as though people may blow this out of proportion. And maybe this is because I'm bad with the perk. I think in an entire game, I actually get one Dead Hard hit anyways. Now, granted, you can't use your, fake Dead Hard anymore. Like, if I use my Dead Hard the first chase I get into, there's no chance anymore that when that killer goes for me again, I can spin around and be like, oh, am I gonna Dead Hard? Like, that mind game is now gone, which is pretty big. But admittedly, I was never good at those. So, like, I might still run Dead Hard just for the one and done fun, but I think this overall does push it as an exhaustion perk out of the meta. I'm willing to bet this is kind of the pinnacle of sprint burst and lithe gamers coming back. We'll see how it is though. We'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think, because this is probably a really big change. Granted, Call of Brine, there we go. 125% regression speed as opposed to 200%. So slow down the amount of regression. I think this change right here directly combats 3-genning, which is amazing. I think this perk is only really, it's run otherwise because it's really good, but stacking it with other perks in the 3-gen scenario is insane. So I'm happy it's being addressed. Overcharge, similarly in these plays, they've reduced the maximum regression speed to 130%, so it takes it longer for the regression to become beneficial, and the starting speed is a little bit higher, and the penalty for the missing skill check goes down. So now, once again, Overcharge kind of being run with Call of Brine for these 3-gen setups, or kicking a gen and having multiple perk effects being applied, is now being adjusted. I'm really happy with these changes because I think that these perks promote an unhealthy 3-gen playstyle. I would argue 3-genning is unhealthy for the game. Granted, it's going to happen in the games that you play, but I do feel like 3-genning has been exacerbated by perks, as opposed to just saying it's a Knight and Skull Merchant problem. Like Call of Brine and Overcharge, absolutely. With Eruption already getting nerfed, I think everything there created a perfect storm of killers that can regress gens quickly with perks, but have built-in game delay towards generators with their kit. I'm happy to see this change. Admittedly, I'm not to toot my own horn that I don't miss Overcharge skill checks that often, but I do think that this combination of gen kicking perks will take them out of the meta. Or if you choose to run a 3-gen, it's really going to feel weaker, and particularly only like the Knight's probably going to be using it anymore. The last big one, and this is actually a big change, Circle of Healing will no longer allow survivors to heal without a medkit. Self-care is coming back, boy. I'm just kidding. So instead, it's a 50% healing bonus to healing others, and the aura of injured survivors within the boon range are revealed to other people. So it's kind of like you create that same safe zone, but you still need someone else to go there. In my opinion, this is the nail in the coffin for Circle of Healing. I think at this point, a perk like Botany Knowledge is sufficient to heal someone at a higher speed. It's not limited to a particular portion of the map. And I don't know, so much of the value from Circle of Healing came from being able to self-heal at a reasonable speed. And now that you can no longer do that, I'm happy to say I think Circle of Healing dies with this mid-chapter patch. And I am a definite reason that it should be. I have advocated why Circle of Healing is so strong. I've used it in so many of my different games and gotten a lot of value out of it. and that's just good. I genuinely think this is a healthy change. Survivors are going to hate the fact that Dead Hard and Circle of Healing's gone. Killers are going to hate the change that Call of Brine and Overcharge and Pain Res are gone, but let's be real, these are all necessary changes for the health of the game. I'm happy this is going to be a shakeup. Granted, the big thing is going to be with Dead Hard, if people are going to just be running 8,000 sprint bursts now as opposed to Dead Hards. We'll see how it goes. But Circle of Healing being gone, I think, is a necessary change. Admittedly, it's my crutch perk on Survivor, but it needs to be done. And for Killers rejoice. Granted, Circle of Healing was one of the best things you could do to deal with a 3-gen, like resetting the pressure. So I'm curious to see how Circle of Healing, combined with 1 heal medkits, combined with extended timer medkits, if anti-healing builds with Colorphobia, Leverage, as a Nerving Presence one, I forget exactly how you make healing a pain. I feel like that low-key might have a shot. I'm willing to give that a chance. And then lastly, just so we could wrap the video up, killer updates. Hillbilly Chainsaw overheating doesn't really happen anymore. Pig did not get nerfed. Shout out to the devs for calling this meme out. Oni add-ons I don't know about. Nightmare add-ons I don't know about. Executioner add-ons I admittedly just don't know about. I'm sorry, as much as I'd love to go over these, I don't play the killers enough. I don't want to voice my opinion on something I don't truly understand. The big one though is Clown. This one I know, the pinky finger that lets you insta-down someone when you smack him with a bottle directly. He only gets 2 bottles instead of 3. I haven't seen an eerie pinky finger clown in a very long time. But man, was it annoying before. And I think this is just kind of like a healthy change. So otherwise, I'm a little bit lost on the other add-ons. If you guys play those killers, let me know what you think. Other big change. Flashlight interactions with killers are gone. So the Wraith can no longer get burned, the Nurse can no longer get burned, the Artist's crows do not disappear, and the Hag's traps cannot be removed with a flashlight. But to make up for the Hag, because she was the one that had the most with her power related to flashlights, you can now like wipe away her trap if you crouch up and like walk up to it. You could, I assume it's going to be like a, like smudge it away or something. But now flashlights don't have those interactions with killers. I think it was originally a cool idea, but as the game's evolved, bringing a flashlight most notably to interact with particular killers, yeah, and this is the thing. It feels unfairly punished from something beyond your control. I think that admittedly is a good change. So this is overall, and then the Deep Rift, this is talking about lore and some challenges and how they're not going to be using as many licensed chapters. So that's about it. I think this is going to be an awesome mid-chapter patch. Granted, this is coming out very close to when Meet Your Maker drops, and admittedly, I am very excited to play Meet Your Maker. I don't know how much I'm going to continue doing Dead by Daylight. I might do a little bit of a hybrid of both. Maybe I'll slowly transition towards Meet Your Maker. Like, on Mondays, I'll make videos about them, and then Wednesday, Friday, still Dead by Daylight. We'll see. That being said, let me know what you guys think about all the changes. Just a quick overview of everything in case you guys want to skip to the end. Blood web spending optimized, visual terror radius is good, auto haven rework, meta perks changing, medkits are definitely being hit, and Pig didn't get nerfed. What more could you ask for, right? I think this is an amazing update. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Sorry for that loud noise. I just slammed a little thing on my drawer. Yep. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and take it easy. Peace.